folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. Concern is not whether God is on our side, my greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. I can see how it might be possible for a man to look down upon the earth and be an atheist, but I cannot conceive how a man could look up into the heavens and say there is no God. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Character is like a tree and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is and the tree is the real thing. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. My father taught me to work, but not to love it. I never did like to work, and I don't deny it. I'd rather read, tell stories, crack jokes, talk, laugh, anything but work. If you once forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. It is true that you may fool all of the people some of the time, you can even fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Speech at Clinton, Illinois, September 8, 1854. In this sad world of ours, sorrow comes to all, and, to the young, it comes with bitterest agony, because it takes them unawares. The older have learned to ever expect it. I am anxious to afford some alleviation of your present distress. Perfect relief is not possible, except with time. You cannot now realize that you will ever feel better. Is not this so? And yet it is a mistake. You are sure to be happy again. To know this, which is certainly true, will make you some less miserable now. I have had experience enough to know what I say, and you need only to believe it, to feel better at once. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts, and beer. A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure, permanently half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved, I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other. As a nation, we began by declaring that all men are created equal. We now practically read it all men are created equal, except Negroes. When the know-nothings get control, it will read all men are created equal, except Negroes, and foreigners, and Catholics. When it comes to this I should prefer emigrating to some country where they make no pretense of loving liberty, to Russia, for instance, where despotism can be taken pure, and without the base alloy of hypocrisy. It is difficult to make a man miserable while he feels worthy of himself and claims kindred to the great God who made him. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. 7 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.